All right, as we see, we've located the inlet right here above the hole. Kenny has kind of looked around to see if there's any nail heads to avoid any nails so we're not messing up our drill bit. Kenny, go ahead and drill a hole. Let's show how it's done. We have found that we don't quite have enough room to drop an entire piece of pipe down in there, so we're going to have to cut it and put it down in sections. We simply slide it down and we cut it, make sure that it's deburred properly. Now, one important thing is once you get your pipe cut, you have to go through and make sure that you don't have any rough edges, or this is referred to as deburring the pipe. Then when you go to put your glue on, in this case he's going to be putting a stop coupling on there. When you put the glue on, you put the glue on the pipe only. You do not put any glue in the fitting. This way you get a good solid bead of glue around the outside of the pipe, but you don't get any on the inside. That's a good fitting. Now he'll simply do the same thing on the other end. Go ahead and insert that down the hole. Now he'll insert another piece of pipe and glue it. And let's go downstairs and watch as the pipe comes down to Matt, and he glues the fitting on the bottom to where we mount for the installation of the inlet. Okay, we've now see that the pipe has come down right where our hole was cut. Kenny taped the wire to the pipe and lowered it, so we brought our low voltage trip circuit along with the pipe down, and now Matt is ready to go ahead and actually install the rough end and the fitting. He's got to shove that back up, and he'll put a little glue on the outside of the pipe, and then he'll fit his 90 onto there. Kenny, you need to pull up on that a little bit.
Hold it a little bit down, Kenny. There you go.
Fortunately, with a 2-inch piece of pipe running from the lower floor to the attic, the pipe itself works as an intercom system.
Kenny, go ahead and push down on it.
Okay. Now we've got the 90-degree glued on the bottom of that pipe. Now he's inserting the rough end frame. This is the same rough end frame that we used to mark it originally. Now what he's doing, this is the low voltage trip circuit, so when she inserts the hose, there's a switch on the end of her hose. When she flips the switch, this is actually what starts the power unit that's out in the garage. This is a low voltage trip circuit. We're using an inlet that has a light emitting diode on it. With the particular system we're putting in this house, the vac system itself, if the light starts blinking, it tells her that the bag is full and she needs to change the bag. So we have a self-alert system on this particular system. When you get your inlet, there are 3 screws with it, 2 long ones and a short one. Obviously the short one goes into the rough end where the pipe exits behind the rough end. That way you're not putting the screw all the way into the pipe. Let me help you there, Matt.
I appreciate it, sir.
Okay. Last minute check for level, tighten it down, and we're good to go. All right, now let's go on upstairs where Kenny has finished putting the vac pipe together and has tapped this inlet into the main trunk system. As you can see, this is where Ken came on up and hooked that drop on into the main trunks line. This is the typical way of how these systems are put in. And once they're finished up, this trunk line runs all the way back to the power unit that's in the garage. We're ready to go down to the power unit and get that mounted and light the system on. Okay, here we are in the garage, and Ken is in the process of mounting the vac tank. He's just using the mounting bracket as part of the template. He's found the center of the stud. He's drilling a couple of pilot holes where he's marked it with a template. Then we simply take and mount the mounting plate itself with two 1/4-inch lag bolts that we have that come with the unit. And in the process of doing that, you make sure it's important that you make sure that mounting bracket is mounted level. If not, the tank will sit at an angle and it tends to vibrate. So make sure that the thing is mounted level, it's secure to the wall, and we're ready to go. Okay. One final tap to make sure that the thing is good and level, and we're ready to go ahead and hang the tank on the wall. Go ahead. The tank simply just sets on top of the mounting bracket. And once we get the tank mounted, well, then we're going to be ready to use this is the inlet for the trunk line where the dirt comes in, and then on the other side is an exhaust where we'll exhaust the excess air to the outside. So we're ready to do that. Matt, go ahead and drop that down. We're putting a dress ring around this where we come down from the main line, just to make sure that we dress up that hole up there where we don't have an ugly edge around there. We've got a low voltage line. Matt, you got your low voltage? This is our low voltage trip circuit line that'll be coming down, and that simply hooks to the bottom of the tank, and that's our trip circuit. Here's where we're using a piece of flex. And with that flex, we're just flexing that straight into the inlet of the main system. And then we use a couple of clamps. That way, if we ever need to do some servicing or anything, we can simply undo the clamps and take the tank off, and we're ready to go. Okay, we just strip off a section off of each end, and then we've got these little spade lugs that we crimp onto each end, each one of the leads that come in, and they just simply plug into the tank, and our trip circuit is then hooked up and ready to go. Okay, we've lowered the exhaust system down. We're coming down, and he's hooking it up. We've taken a hacksaw and split that one piece of that one fitting, and we're just putting a clamp around it so that it will clamp directly onto the exhaust pipe. From there, we're coming up into a muffler just to make sure that the system is nice and quiet for Eileen and her neighbors. And then the exhaust will take it on up, and it'll exhaust the heated air, the air that comes out of the vac, and exhaust that outside.
That looks great.
All right, well, we've just finished up. We've got a couple little housekeeping items left to finish up on tying down the wire and so on. But this system is installed and it's ready to go.
Good.
Good job, Ken. This is a very typical installation of a retrofit into an existing home installation. You've seen the situations you need to address. Every installation is unique, but with just a little planning and paying attention to what you're doing during your layout, the systems go in just like you've seen right here. This is an industry that can add additional profits to your business. There's a lot of sales potential out there. You certainly should consider getting involved in the retrofit business.